Hello and welcome to episode 41 of Soccercraft. In the last episode, we built up the mountains behind me, and I also built up this end portal room, which is in desperate need of some waxing. Maybe in today's episode, we could do a little bit of work on a bee farm. And this end portal room is quickly becoming one of my favorite builds in this area, with the glowberries and the azalea bushes and the moss blocks. All the new 1.17 blocks really help for an overgrown atmosphere if that's what you're going for. And in the Sun Temple Warrior, we're going to be doing a lot of overgrown stuff because this place is supposed to look abandoned. So I'm going to have a lot of this type of stuff going on around the build palettes in this desert area. Now, plans for this episode are going to include getting a building up around that staircase, and I want to start planning where things are going to be in this area. So I'm going to plan where pathways are going to go, plan where the main builds are going to be, and then plan some just extra houses for just some cool interiors. And we also have a lot of work to do on these mountains. Now, the mountains are looking good, but the plain stone isn't cutting it, so we're going to have to detail it. Add in some cobblestone, some mossy cobblestone, and some dirt cliffs to make it look more realistic. We're going to try to take these flat parts here and add a lot of dirt and consider maybe adding some trees to the mountain. And in any parts in the mountain that have overhangs like this and this, I want to try experimenting with the new dripstone block as well. I think it could look really cool on some of the cliff faces. Now, to get started doing some actual work on this episode, I come up to the maps of the area that we're working on. So this is the before map, showing what it looked like before we chopped down all the trees, and this is after terraforming up the desert and the mountain. The only thing is, we're probably missing a lot here, and I'm not going to be able to fill in this map and make this map bigger, but I do want to make this map bigger. So I need to get 7 maps to see if we can expand this out. And the map is expanded, and you can see how far I've taken all of the sand. And now what I want to do is use this map and take a bunch of this netherrack and lay down paths and squares and shapes of where I want to put a lot of buildings in this area. I know I want to put something big back here, so we'll save that for later, but I want to start laying out at least this island where I want things to be. And I decided that using netherrack to plan out this place isn't the way to go. We're going to do it organized. So I grabbed different shulker boxes of different colored wool so we can color code this place. Now let's hop into a time lapse of me getting the Sun Warrior Temple Village planned. And welcome back from that time lapse. I've got a whole bunch of wool wireframes down and some ideas of what I want this village to look like. I want the purple wool to represent where the paths of the village are going to go, and any building that is outlined in orange is going to be a building with a purpose. And all of the other buildings over here with the magenta colored wool, they're just going to be buildings for the sake of having buildings around to make the area look pretty. And then we have some pink wool laying around, which is going to represent an outdoor space. For example, this pink space I plan on being the stairs to get up into the mountains up here. And then the stairway will continue along this path along here and eventually head up to the center peaks of the mountains up there. But yeah, the pink wool represents an outdoor space, so this will be the stairs, this will be some sort of outdoor space connected to this house, and this will be a bridge over here. And as you can see, we're also planning on expanding out the village over here, but I've already given myself enough work with all of these wool outlines, so we'll have to deal with them first. And last but not least, all of the cyan blocks I want to represent a custom tree or cactus. And now that we have part of the Sun Warrior Temple planned, I want to get started on the first build of the area, and that's going to be this build that we're standing on here. It's going to serve as the stairs to get down into the end portal room, and I also want to use this room to show off the map that we have up there. And in case you're curious, this is what the map looks like now that I've got all of my wool wireframes down. You can really see how the village is going to progress eventually, and it's nice having a map like this to be able to update whenever you do progress on your world. And without any further ado, how about we get started on a time lapse of me working on this build. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that time lapse. We finished up our build surrounding the stairs that go down to our end portal, and we got it set up as our map room as well. I extended out this map a little bit further. At the start of the episode, we only had this little area here. So we've expanded it out to show the whole area, and I'm really glad to have a good spot to display this map because I find it's a really cool way to be able to interact with your world and having this map update. Like as you can see right here, we have our build right here, and it's really helping me to imagine what else I can add to this area. And now talking about specific details of the build, I'm really enjoying all of the use of copper in the build. The copper roof looks really nice. And it looks fantastic from outside as well. It's definitely getting the feel that we want for this area, which is a temple feel. And I'm very happy about that. The one issue I keep running into is I am struggling to stop the copper from oxidizing. And I need to talk about the floor of this build as well. This is the first time I've actually used glazed terracotta and been very happy with how it turns out. This black glazed terracotta really matches the deep slate very well, and you know, everyone's using deep slate right now because it's new in 1.17, so maybe black glazed terracotta is a block that can be used in a few more floors. And I have to say, it is such a pain to place all of this terracotta because you have to really pay attention to which direction you're facing while placing it. But I think it's worth it for how great this room is looking. But there is one thing that this room still needs. That was so close. There's one thing this room that still needs, and that is for it to be ruined. And by that I mean, I want to place leaves all over the place and make it look like no one has been living here forever. I've gathered up a little bit of moss blocks to maybe mix in with the floor and maybe mix in with the wall. The goal is to make everything look like it's been here for a really long time. Except the copper. We want that to stay the normal color. Get out of here. So let's hop into another quick time lapse. And the map haul is now complete. It looks so good with all the leaves running all over it. And actually, I want to show you what it looks like on the map as well. Oh, that looks, I don't know, I think it looks really cool. And I'm really happy with how this place turned out inside and out. It really feels like I've got the overgrown look that I was looking for. And I've got to say, having glowberries as a new light source in the game is a really great addition because I'm willing to get any light sources hidden any way I can. The candle spam does look pretty good. It looks a lot better than a torch spam, but being able to mix in these glowberries to add extra light, it really helps with lighting up your builds. But now it's time to stop looking at this build and start looking at the mountains. I did a pretty good job with the mountains in the last episode, but I want to detail them. It needs grass, dirt, cobblestone, and some other stones mixed in. So I'm going to grab a bunch of that stuff and get ready for another building time lapse. Welcome back, I hope you enjoyed that time lapse. We got a ton of work done on this mountain. And I have to say, this mountain is looking fantastic. It's definitely the best mountain range I've made in this world yet. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, from far away, it's pretty hard to see all the extra detailing that I put into this mountain, but when you're up close to the mountain, it makes everything feel a little bit more realistic, and I really appreciate that feeling on this mountain. I also tried to add a bunch of grass landings like this one, and I tried to make it feel realistic and where the grass might land on the mountain. So I picked a lot of the flatter parts, which is why this really steep mountain here doesn't really have any grass on it. But I decided to try to get some of the dripstone in here, and I think it looks really cool as a little bit of a detail in this mountain. Now with these grass paths, I kind of just need to come through and spam a little bit of bone meal to make everything feel a little bit better. And in these paths we included the new moss block, some coarse dirt, and the regular dirt. And it's kind of cool having built this in a dark oak forest. I mean, it looks like we're in a desert, but the grass of the dark oak forest looks really great in this mountain. And something else that I've seen a lot of people doing that I think is going to look really cool as an addition here is using the azalea bush, and then you put a moss block on top of it, and it looks like a little tree inside of your area. So I'm going to put a bunch of these around, spam some bone meal, and see what this place can really look like. And I think this is a big improvement already. With a little bit of bone meal spam and these azalea moss block combination, it really changes up the vibe that this mountain gives. Like down here on this grass platform, I'm just imagining when the stairs come all the way up here, then I have to walk along this pathway to get up to the center of the mountain. Having these little azalea trees really adds to the immersion that this mountain gives me. And these glowberries behind me I think are a really great way to add a little bit of light to the mountains and keep it natural looking. And I've made sure to give all of the platforms the same treatment all over. So this place is looking pretty detailed, at least from the front of the mountain, because we're not going to be building at the back of the mountain for a while, so I'm leaving this undetailed for now because this is just a massive project. And with that being said, we're running out of time for today's episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, please consider leaving a like and consider subscribing. And if you have any suggestions for what you think I should build for farms in this area, please leave it in a comment below. We've got quite a few buildings that we have left to fill out, and I'll see you guys next time. Water Tribe out.